Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Pisces energy. I'm going to get a few of these cards out. I might get a few clarifiers to fill out the story. And we're going to see what could be going on, one of the storylines in Pisces energy. And keep in mind, we can all tap into Pisces energy. Pisces energy is when we tap into our emotions, our intuition, our creativity, our dreams, and listen to our intuition. And we can either do that and use our emotions, and if we're not kind of in emotionally balanced and not operating from our fear, our insecurity, our pride, our ego, our selfishness, our greed, our emotional self-defensiveness, our intuition might be on track. Otherwise, our intuition might be off track and we might be living in illusion and fantasy land. So we're going to read it from both perspectives to see how people might be using this energy right now. I did get out some Dark Shadow of the Soul Oracle cards, which might be either traits you have to watch out for, people you've dealt with, but we have apathetic, they're indifferent, they're disinterested, and they're cold. We have greedy, traditional. So traditional could be people that want to kind of keep doing things the same way they've always done it. They don't want to change. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone. Not really maybe willing to live their own creative, unique life. Because if that's not traditional, they don't want to step outside the box of societal norms. And we have non-committal, stone heart. And the reason all these cards came out was because of materialistic, which says surface level, possessive, and unspiritual. So definitely some people in the world, I kind of think that people either see the truth of life, and the truth of life is that, yes, we do have the materialistic world here that we live in. And the world tries to tell us that the most important thing about our life is to, if we have money and image and status and materialism, we'll be happy. Well, people can be surrounded with all sorts of luxury in life and still be miserable. The truth of life is that we're supposed to nurture the things that the world doesn't give us, that the divine gave us, which is our emotions, respect our intuition, to authentically be ourselves, to tap into our creativity and our dreams, to pursue the things that are really meaningful to us, and have deeply emotional, passionate relationships with people who are kind and just and fair and respectful and patient and supportive. That's what makes a full life. So the reason for the reading is the Nine of Wands and the Page of Cups. Some of you specifically could have been dealing with a Sagittarius, but people in Nine of Wands energy, they aren't educating themselves about belief systems and philosophies to wrap their brain around, this emotionally confusing life that we're in order to take that creative inspired action to keep themselves out of their shadow side of fear and insecurities, and to look at life as an adventure to be lived. And we're supposed to have hope and faith and belief and tap into that inner nature of our emotional side, our intuitive side, our creative, imaginative side. And some people are very defensive about tapping into their emotions, because that makes them feel too emotionally vulnerable. And that would be, we've all been hurt before, but if we haven't offered ourselves the love and compassion and forgiveness and, believing in ourselves from self-love, we kind of don't have a very sturdy emotional foundation within us. And it can make us very defensive of, and unable to move forward at this time because we're defensive still. We still, everybody is where they're at. Sadly, though, sometimes people can get in relationships with other people and they present an illusion that they're not defensive and that they're really ready to have a new emotional beginning, and they're really not. And some people are afraid of change and they're defensive of apologizing, they're defensive of being emotionally vulnerable. And so sometimes people who are maybe in a more shadowy Sagittarius energy do kind of maybe take some reckless, impulsive action in their life because they're so emotionally defensive of being emotionally vulnerable or learning or growing or changing. They would be the people who might be more traditional. And if they're also kind of focused on thinking, I can be successful in my life just focusing on money and image and status. That way I don't have to be emotionally vulnerable. And so again, those people can be a little indifferent and disinterested and cold because they live more from their mind than their heart. You know, when you're very self-protective and defensive of being emotionally vulnerable, it does make you very greedy and selfish in a relationship, because you're creating illusions, and our Pisces emotional side in shadow can be about creating illusions. We don't want people to know we're defensive. So we create the illusion, and when we do that, we are being selfish because the other person is probably being open and honest, and these people who are in their shadow nature are making people believe that they're willing to move forward with them, but they're maybe not. They're only willing to like indulge themselves in the relationship emotionally, sexually, whatever, until the people want them and kind of realize that these people are kind of really defensive. And then, you know, if these people in the meantime haven't worked on some of their fears and insecurities and self-defensiveness, they are going to be kind of cold-hearted and they're going to leave the relationship. You know, their commitment is like to themselves, to protect themselves emotionally, to not make them susceptible to being hurt by anyone. And so they focus, again, with the greedy and the traditional, being very focused on money and materialism. And if someone wants to be in a relationship with them, so long as that person is okay being in a relationship where they're also making that the primary focus of their life, you know, these people can probably work together, but it might be kind of an emotionally cold, defensive relationship. So the cards that we got out is 3 of Swords, Libra energy, 4 of Wands, Aries energy, 5 of Wands, Aquarius energy, and 5 of Pentacles, Taurus energy. The people who are really emotionally defensive, they're so afraid, is all I can rationalize. It's just my best guesses here. I think they're really afraid of other people leaving them out in the cold. They're really afraid of people betraying them, hurting them, because obviously they've been betrayed and hurt before. And that's what makes them so defensive of being emotionally vulnerable in a relationship. And if you've done the work, what positive people would do, people have been hurt before, they do take creative inspired action because they're not willing to stuff love in a dark box in the corner of their mind or heart. They're not willing to give up on their dreams and their hopes and their desire to continue to work with people from a loving and emotional foundation. So the people who are in high vibe Pisces energy, those people take some creative inspired action to have good boundaries against people who have betrayed them. And regardless of how we live our life, you know, if we're a thief, if we commit crimes, we all in our Libra energy justify our actions. And if they have had people before who betrayed them, put money and materialism or self-protectionism ahead of working together with people from an emotional foundation, the creative inspired people learn to have boundaries because they don't want to live a life of defensiveness. Being defensive and guarded and fearful of being in loving relationships is no way to live. We've just, you know, our divine inheritance is to be in emotionally loving relationships. And if we let other people who are kind of in shadowy energy make us defensive, then kind of like the negative energy of the world has snagged another victim. And high vibe people learn to take creative action to tap into their self-love. If somebody betrayed them, they offer themselves the love, the compassion, the forgiveness, the kindness, the self-respect, and take action in their life from those principles, that I'm not going to contribute to my own pain and suffering. I'm going to choose to be kind and open and respectful to people and try to find people who reciprocate that back. And I've learned some lessons about people who are very self-defensive, people who focus more on money and image and status than love. And now the whole point is to learn lessons. And the people who aren't giving up on their dreams have learned to have better boundaries, to make sure they're in relationships with people who have good boundaries. And people who have good boundaries have good boundaries against their own shadow side. I'm going to offset my fears and insecurity. And when I feel self-protective and defensive, I'm going to choose love. And I'm going to see if I can work this out with people. And if the people I'm working with are still not being disciplined within themselves to choose love, then I'm going to learn to have boundaries against them. Some of you could have been dealing with a Libra, or you're just dealing with someone who lives more from their mind than their heart, because Libra energy is air sign energy of the mind. And you have decided, I'm going to have good boundaries. I don't want to give up on my life. I am going to take in Aries energy, creative, inspired action, bold, confident action in my own life. To be creative and inspired, tap into love, and be happy and at peace within myself. Because again, it's a free will choice every day to choose love. And if you have hope and faith and belief that the divine is in control of everything anyway, if people aren't able to move forward with us at this time, because for some of you, this could be an adult child, a parent, a sibling, a coworker, a good friend, and for some of you, it was a love connection. If they're not ready to move forward with us now, and maybe never, we have to accept the truth of that and claim our right to be at peace and joy within our foundation and the people we choose to come together with on a daily basis within our foundation. And in the Five of Swords, it's to decide, I'm not going to be in a mental prison about this. Five of Swords can be about being balanced between your mind and your heart about the situation. In Aquarius energy, that you're trying to step back and see life from a higher perspective and have hope and belief that there can be healing in the situation. But sometimes if we have offered a loving, kind, respectful, encouraging, patient environment for people to do the inner work that they need to do, and they don't use that opportunity to do it because they're still too defensive, well then they have some life lessons to learn. And part of the life lessons is that, people who know that their worth and value and know they deserve to be in equally giving, respectful relationships are going to detach from these people and separate themselves from these people. Though maybe in the Page of Cups, I wish you peace. I hope it works out for you. But I need to have good boundaries against you. Until you come from a foundation of self-love within yourself and realize you deserve a better life than the one you're living. But everybody's got free will. I'm going to detach in the Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy. What is all the rules and regulations in people's heads about how they make decisions in their life? And your foundation is love, respect, encouragement, support, self-discipline to maintain balance and harmony in relationships. And you need to be in a relationship and aligned and yoked with people who are also in Taurus earth sign energy, willing to do the hard work and effort to detach from their mental conflict, to see things from the bigger picture, and are willing to move forward and learn to have good boundaries and to not be like a child in relationships. Because the shadowy Aquarius energy, people who turn their back on moving forward, they might want to repeat patterns of the past where they can be indulged, where they can be more egocentric, where they can be kind of loved like a child, as if you're their parent and you're supposed to love them unconditionally, and they don't have to learn to have good boundaries. Where they think, no, I should be able to be defensive because I feel emotionally vulnerable and I've been hurt before. There comes a point, though, where people do have to be willing to put in the work and effort to detach from the past pain and heartbreak that caused them mental conflict. And if they don't, my way of viewing life, that being in this manifestation, worldly matrix of the world, is that the universe is constantly working with people to try to get them to heal their past pain and heartbreak, because the divine wants everybody to live to their full maturity. The divine doesn't want people in fear and insecurity and hurting other people out of their pride and ego and being emotionally cold, being selfish and greedy. That's no way to live. So, the divine worked through you when you provided a loving, encouraging environment for this person. And if they refused to see things from a higher perspective, and shadowy Aquarius energy can be about, I want to be the center of attention. Again, it's like I want to always be indulged like a child. I don't want to have to do the work and effort it takes to be in mature relationships. I want to be the center of attention. I want everyone to orient around me. What I say goes. People, it's as if they think it's just and fair for them to leave people out in the cold. Maybe if they're really kind of tipped into their shadow and their narcissist side, they could think it's just and fair to always betray people. Some people who are in really shadowy energy, we empower ourselves by nurturing ourselves and getting ourselves out of our self-defensiveness and living more from our mind than our heart. And sometimes people who can't get themselves out of that, or they don't know how, they can be kind of jealous and envious of people who are creative and inspired. And it can make them mad that other people have figured things out that they haven't figured out. And they don't know why they can't do what other people can do. And sometimes in their defensiveness, they might actually make an offer to get in a relationship with people who are maybe currently experiencing some heartbreak, but they maybe really are some creative, inspired people, and they're loving and they're balanced. And when this person gets in a relationship with them, they bring that defensiveness. They make decisions or say things, because the swords are about ideas and communication. They could do and say things to cause a lot of mental conflict with the people that they work with or live with or are partner with, because they are codependent on other people, because people in their shadow energy aren't loving themselves and nurturing themselves. They kind of need people to indulge them, to make them maybe feel emotionally stable, to make them feel some love in their life, to make them feel stable. But they don't want the people in their life to want them to move forward, to learn and grow and mature. So they intentionally cause mental conflict in a relationship by things they say and the ideas and actions they take. to purposely leave their partner feeling kind of left out in the cold, so then their partner will kind of be defensive. And if they're a loving person, they keep trying to heal the situation. So they keep kind of offering this person love, and they're like, that's perfect. Keep doing that, okay? Because I like to be the one who's the center of attention. And I like you to orient your life around me, because if I can keep you in mental conflict and keep you focused on me and keep you kind of defensive and get you kind of up in your head about love, then you maybe won't leave me and learn to have good boundaries against me. And we can keep staying in a relationship like this, where we're in a relationship or a marriage where you're trying to be just and fair and you're feeling heartbroken, and they're defensive and guarded and making actions and saying things that make you feel left out in the cold, and you just keep doing this cycle over and over and over. There might be a Libra and an Aries who don't see things from a higher perspective, and they're defensive of moving forward. So basically, people in their Aries nature that are in shadow, they're kind of immature. They like to be the boss, but they're not fit to be the boss because they're not a true leader. Because a true leader would make decisions that are best for everyone to make the kingdom thrive, you could say, And this person has a lot of mental conflict about moving forward. In order for this person to move forward and quit repeating patterns of the past, they'd have to learn a lesson. And they are mentally defensive about seeing the truth of something, maybe the truth about themselves. They don't want to admit to themselves maybe that they're kind of selfish, greedy, self-defensive, that there's anything wrong with being materialistic. Some people don't want you to leave, and they're really defensive to you leaving, because then financially they won't be as abundant as they would have been if they'd stayed in a relationship with you. Some people right now could be looking at you. Well, let's just go through what you high vibe people are doing. Well, I guess we did it. You're trying to take some creative action and offer love to the fact that right now you have mind over heart conflict. You do want to be a leader in your life and in your home and in your family or work dynamic. And you are going to take some creative action to make some decisions that need to be made, even though it might cause some conflict mentally for you and others. But you have learned a lesson that you and whoever it is that you're working with are making decisions. You're trying to make decisions from love, and they're either trying to make illusions or make decisions from illusion, not seeing the truth, not wanting to see the truth, in denial, escapism, fantasy land of what they think relationships should be like. Maybe they grew up in relationships like this and families like this, and to them, they don't want to see the truth and admit the truth that their family acted like this. Maybe they kind of idolize the people they grew up with and they could do no wrong. It's all about image and status and money and materialism. And some people refuse to see the truth about either the philosophies that they adopted to make decisions in their life, or about the family that they grew up with, and it really causes them a lot of mental conflict to think of learning a lesson about their original family and how that family dynamic functioned, to detach from that way of being and actually connect in with their inner nature of love, because maybe the family dynamic they grew up with were people who lived more from their mind than their heart. They were more money image focused, but they might have presented as being the picture perfect family. And some people just can't face the truth of that. And that's okay. If they're not ready to face the truth of it, and you've given this everything you've had, and it's still not working with love, well, then you've got to leave them to the divine. And you need to move forward and have good boundaries against this person. And if this person wasn't willing to learn it from love, The divine might make them decide that they are going to defend their position because they're kind of prideful and egotistical, and they are going to make a love offer to someone right now. Maybe to anyone in the world who's heartbroken. Because in the Five of Swords, and if you're kind of in your shadow nature, you do operate more from your pride and ego, and people in the Five of Swords can want to win at all costs, and they don't care who gets hurt. It's all about their image, their status, and they might make a mind over heart decision to come together with someone, possibly either in a relationship, and for some maybe even a marriage. Some of them, if they're very materialistic, they are not going to listen to their heart and be with the people that they love because they're kind of stone cold, traditional, greedy, materialistic, and they're going to get in a relationship or a marriage right now because they do want to win at all costs in the worldly sense, because they don't want to be left out in the cold financially. And the crazy thing is some people can have so much money and stability and loving relationships and everything, and for some people enough is never enough. So fearful and afraid of not being able to keep up with the Joneses that they're unwilling to see the truth and learn the lesson that they were meant to learn, and that they're supposed to learn to have good boundaries against listening to their mind. You know, our mind can cause us all this fear and insecurity and anxiety. And people who are in maybe a loving, creative relationship or marriage ended up having so much mental conflict and fearful and afraid that in the future they won't be able to keep up with the Joneses, that they're willing to detach. And some people will be doing that right now. And they'll be detaching from a loving relationship because their foundation makes decisions more from their mind and their heart. And they're going to be defensive to apologizing or offering love to the loving people because they've decided it makes more sense to go get in a relationship based on money and materialism. That is the logical, practical thing to do, says their mind. And then under that we have insincere and egotistical. And I think people who live their life from their shadow side, just like any of us, when we've thought, oh, I can indulge myself, I can kind of be selfish and greedy in a relationship and not put in the work and effort I can do, we're not proud of ourselves. You know, because whether we want to admit it or not, there's an aspect of ourselves that knows that we were being selfish. And when we're not acting in a way that makes us, we know we're not acting with character and integrity, it kind of works on our self-esteem. And then the sad thing is we can go further and further into our shadow, and the more we go in our shadow, the more we're defensive that we're not doing what we should do, but we don't want to take accountability for what the decisions we've made. So then we start to blame absolutely everyone outside of us for where our life is. They make us drink, they make us mad, they make us lash out. And really, it's not that nobody controls people, but people who kind of get in their shadow they make it as if everybody is doing all these things to make them act this way. And they have the free will choice that everyone else has to choose to make better choices in their life. So let's go see what we got going on here. Three of Swords. You high vibe people in your Aries energy are making a decision that's best for you, all aspects of yourself. This might be someone you have deep affection for. You know, again, it could be a parent, a child, a sibling, a coworker, a best friend, a love connection. But we can't sometimes it gets to a point where if this person keeps betraying us, keeps not working together, you know, every day that they're not in a relationship with you, putting in the work and effort to bring the relationship into balance, because people don't make these decisions lightly. They might be immature, they might be reckless, they might whatever, but they actually weighed out the scales before they made their decisions, you know? They weighed the pros and cons What do I value? What don't I value? What is more important to me? What isn't more important to me? And people who don't want to put in the work and effort to deal with their own issues, they wait out the scales and they don't want to make a decision that's best for everyone. Again, they could be very greedy and selfish and materialistic. They could be someone who's bossy and controlling if they harnessing this energy in an opposite energy. And their way's the highway. And if they're going to be in a relationship with people, people are going to do it their way, or they're going to have to make some painful decisions to betray you. If you don't make them the center of your world, and if you're not willing to indulge them and their selfishness or their greed or their emotional defensiveness, well, then they'll decide to end a relationship with you. Why? People reject outside of them what they reject inside of them. And if this person isn't willing to make decisions that are best for everyone involved, then they need to get rid of the people in their life who do that, because the people who do that are going to expect this person to make those hard decisions also. And this person's like, that's not how I live my life. I live my life more from my shadow side, more self-centered. I don't think life is about love and justice and fairness and balance. They maybe don't believe in a higher power. You know, since we had, I think the stone heart was non-spiritual. Maybe they don't think there is any higher power or any higher truth or justice than money and materialism and status and image. And so I think the shadowy people are making a decision to not learn their lesson. And the high vibe people are making the decision to learn their lesson. Because the positive world card is about having learned the lesson, you're willing to close out one chapter of your life. You don't need to be in a relationship dynamic again like that. You don't need to play those mental head games again. You don't need to have a job like that. You don't need to put up with a boss or a lover or a coworker or a friend like that anymore. You have learned your lesson, and you are not going to be in relationships like that anymore, because it is not just and fair and balanced. It is heartbreaking. You are deciding in the Six of Pentacles to put in time and effort to maintain your balance within yourself and to work together with people who are balanced within themselves, not tipped into their shadow nature, their selfishness, their self-defensiveness, their pride, their ego. And you're also going to take time to meditate on the truth of this whole situation, to heal from this painful situation. And that is bringing justice to the situation. Again, when you take the bold, confident action to invest the time, energy, and effort to maintain balance within yourself so you don't tip into your like egotistical, prideful, competitive, revengeful nature, because that's not how you want to live your life. You have brought justice to the situation. You have brought truth into the situation. And truth is that the only thing that heals us and our past pain and heartbreak is love. And you are going to offer yourself that love and compassion and treat yourself with respect and know that you deserve to be in relationships that are equally reciprocating. And you, by doing that, are bringing justice to the situation, because the Four of Swords is Libra energy, which is about the scales of justice. And you are going to detach from this foundation. And in the King of Swords, Libra energy again, you are going to speak your truth. You are going to stand in your truth. You're going to have your sword up to your own shadow nature that says, oh, but if we move forward, we might not have a relationship, or we might not find another good friend, or we might not have another coworker, or whatever. It's like, I am not living in illusion. I'm clearly seeing the truth that people have shown me through their actions. I'm not going to delude myself. I'm not going to live in fear or insecurity or pride or ego or jealousy or envy or revenge, because that is emotionally unfulfilling. I'm choosing to make the free will choice to be in the energy of truth, which is love, and it's a free will choice to be in every day. I choose to harness the energy of love to enjoy my day, to cut out any thoughts I used to dwell on, any emotions I used to sit in that are not conducive to moving my life forward. And I am going to take action. King of Cups is Cancer energy. I'm going to move forward in my life offering love and respect and kindness to people because that's how I choose to live my life. And if people want to reciprocate that, wonderful. I'll appreciate that and be grateful for it. Even the people who smile on the street, at the people at the grocery store, in the coffee shop, appreciate kind people in the world. And the people who instead are choosing to think and live an illusion that if they get in a more transactional relationship where I give you this and you give me that, okay? Let's work to have the money, image, and status and materialism we want in the world. Or I'll give you money, or you give me money, whatever. Let's take some creative action. Some of these people are so materialistic. Yeah, they're willing to take sexual action with people for those people to give them the money that they want to have in the world, to surround them by the luxury they want in the world. They're stone cold, they're greedy, they're materialistic. Other people right now are going to take action towards someone who they think will be willing to exchange resources with them. That can be hugs and kisses, or it can be money and materialism. And they're going to try to heal a situation with them, and they want to move forward in a relationship. So this person is maybe going to take action towards someone in their past. Make sure that isn't you. And they want this relationship to move forward, operating, because there's 10 pentacles possible. This person wants to only operate with half of their foundation, to live from their mind, to focus, work with what the world gives them, not connect in with their emotions, not connect in with their intuition, not listen to acting with character and integrity, because the most important thing is money, image, and status. And those people are going to be emotionally cold and distant. This makes logical, practical sense. And then they put on their false mask and present themselves as loving to someone because they're using their Pisces emotional side to create illusion for people. They present themselves as loving, but inside they're actually emotionally cold and living from their mind. This makes logical, practical sense. I will not get hurt if I could be in a relationship with you for 10, 20, 50 years. But if I don't really emotionally invest in you and it's all like a facade and an image to try to make it seem like the relationship is balanced so that I have the image and money and stuff that I want, I'll hope all my body parts work so I can have sexual relationships with you, because otherwise you might leave me too. And those people have decided they want to win at all costs. They are going to take action maybe towards someone else they know who wants to win at all costs and has a lot of mental conflict of learning their lessons and moving forward. And the universe would say that's just and fair. It's not just for them to be in a relationship with really loving people who keep nurturing, and especially if they betrayed those people. Well, if you weren't going to do the love track, the universe says, we're going to get you in a relationship with someone who's just like yourself. And maybe when you look at yourself in the mirror, you will become more self-aware of how fun it is to live with you. And maybe you'll quit blaming everyone else for where you're at in your life, because you're going to have yourself mirrored back to you. And they're going to make a love offer to someone else they know wants to win at all costs, or their foundation is just going to present themselves as loving in the world. They're going to create the illusion that they're balanced and they've healed, and they're going to move forward presenting the illusion that they're loving to the world, but they're actually offering their love to their shadowy Aquarius energy. It's all about looking like a shining star in the 3D world. And if that's me focusing on money and materialism, making decisions to look like a shining star. I'm going to keep emotionally investing in me looking like a shining star, and I'm going to be defensive to anyone who wants me to work together with them and detach from my way of being, because that emotionally confuses me. And if they do make a love offer to someone, they think that other person also wants to win at all costs, and they're going to defend that relationship. And they're going to keep going forward with the way they view life. Money is about aligning with your worldly nature and creating illusions for the world that you're happy and that you're defending the fact that you made this love offer to get in this relationship, and just create illusion around the whole thing. Some people free willingly choose to be in a relationship all based on illusion because they are so defensive of being emotionally vulnerable in a relationship. And really, we kind of should respect it. We've all got layers and layers of cloaking on us, throughout our life at different times when we didn't know our worth and value. It's kind of like we had layers and layers of cloaking on us. And as we lived life, some of those got kind of stripped away where it's like, oh my gosh, I deserve so much better than this. And we made some decisions that we were no longer going to be in relationships with people who didn't respect us, because we now know our worth and value. And sadly, these people don't know their worth and value, and they're living an emotionally cold, detached life, which is sad. And they're going around creating illusions and relationships with other people, which is sad. It doesn't mean we sit and beg at their feet to get in a relationship with us. I don't think we've ever heard any spiritual leaders of the world, from Jesus to Buddha or whoever, that wept at people's feet saying, but I love you, you should be in a relationship with us, you should come join us. They offer people peace, and the people who are responsive to it work together with them. And the people who don't, we respect the fact that they have free will. The divine made people in different places so that, for people to learn and have the opportunity to really question, what do I value? What is important to me? And we come across people where we realize that they just don't see life the same way we do, or they're not at the, haven't released some cloaks of illusion, but the universe is going to take care of them. Whatever path they take, the universe is going to keep working with them. But we all know the people who stubbornly refuse to learn or grow or mature, and they end up living a facade of a life. And, at one point in time, we believe they're going to realize they wasted this life experience where they could have chosen love and hope and faith, and maybe had more stability and abundance than they could have imagined if they would have trusted the divine. The world can only give us so much. The divine can give us so much more, So let's see. For other people, you could have been heartbroken and decided to close out a chapter of a life. You could have met someone else and come together in a relationship. For some of you, it could have been an Aries. We have 2 Aries card. Or you and the person you met just were willing to take bold, creative action. And you've learned lessons from your past. You've learned to have equal give and take. And you've invested time, energy, and effort in this relationship to heal things. And you learn that lesson and you're moving forward. And you're both taking action in your life based on truth and having love as a foundation. And you're being disciplined with yourself to stay balanced within yourself, to bring balance and harmony to the relationship. And you're both moving forward in love. And you are both balanced between your mind and your heart, that you're tapped into your Pisces emotional side to keep offering love to move forward, and you're protecting this relationship because it doesn't cause you a lot of mental conflict. It doesn't cause you to get up in your head, because both of you are taking creative, inspired action from love, and you're putting in that work and effort because you want to protect your future. And again, in Leo energy, 7 of Wands, you both are stepping into the spotlight of your life. You're both listening to your intuition to guide you forward and come from a foundation of love. And the two of you will move forward and leave the past foundations behind to move into your new future and have a brand new beginning, because you see all the emotional possibilities and you are having good boundaries to not let negative energies, your own negative thoughts, your own negative fears, your own negative emotions, or other, there's all sorts of people in the world that don't like us to see our dreams come into reality, or kind of harness negative energy and try to get us up in our mind and get us in our fears and insecurities. And we have to learn to have good boundaries against our own shadow side and other people who might want to be a third party to interfere in our relationship. So you learn to have good boundaries to protect this, because this relationship is coming from a pure innocent nature. So for any of you people who are harnessing high vibe Pisces energy, they have closed out an old cycle of their life. They are putting in time to heal. Those are the people right now that will be speaking truth, listening to their heart and intuition, offering love to other people, taking bold creative action in their life, because they are no more in a mental prison about the past. The past is over. The people who were in their life in the past, they don't have illusions about those people anymore. They'd be in your life right now if they wanted to work with you, so we should let them go and not have any illusions about them. And these people are offering love to the future. They are standing up for themselves. Some people who are in shadowy energy, a big problem of why they're not willing to move forward in a more positive manner could be because, for one, they'd have to invest in healing. Some people don't want to reflect on the truth. Other people, part of it would be that they'd have to speak their truth. Some people don't want to speak their truth. They don't want to speak the truth about themselves, the people they love, the mistakes they've made. They're defensive to love. They don't want to stand up for themselves. Maybe there's people in their life that wouldn't like the decisions that they make if they really were to stand up for themselves, and they don't want to deal with standing up for themselves against those people. Some people in the world are really defensive of being in a relationship because they're always so fearful of the competition. That would be someone who has really low self-esteem. They don't value themselves enough, so it's hard for them to believe that other people are being honest and truthful when they say they love them, when they reject themselves. It's kind of like, I've already rejected myself. I have to reject you. I have to be defensive to you because you are way off base, And, this person would have to be willing to learn some lessons to detach from their old ways of being and have hope and faith and belief in the future, and learn to have good boundaries. And some people don't want to do any of those things. They don't want to have good boundaries within themselves. They don't want to have good boundaries against other people. They could be really codependent on other people, really kind of like submissive to other people. And basically they, even though they might not do that for some of them, they're just kind of immature, and they're very codependent on other foundations in their life. And they're unwilling to detach from those foundations. Those foundations, they're very kind of like a child within, and sadly they probably know that those people could maybe be competitive, that those people wouldn't like that this person is kind of going and living their own independent life. And that's sad, because they're investing in an old foundation that basically doesn't want them to live their life. Yet this person maybe isn't telling them how to live their life, but for some reason the people in their foundation think that they can tell them how to live theirs. Is that just and fair? If this person doesn't stand up for themselves, they are going to sacrifice this unique soul journey experience that they had an opportunity to live, because they're unwilling to stand up for themselves. In their Leo energy, it's like they're weak and they choose to be defensive to people, because here, They keep offering their love to the people in their life who want to win at all costs, that try to stop them from moving forward. Don't let people come into your life, because right now, as you're moving forward, you might have some people come into your life that want to win at all costs to stop you from moving forward. And this person also could have people in their life that have a lot of mental conflict about this person detaching, basically them having their dreams maybe come true, and maybe standing up for themselves and having good boundaries against these people, and they don't respect other people's boundaries, and they think they have the right to tell this person how to live their life. And if this person keeps offering their love to those people in their life and defending those people, and those people in their life say, no, I don't want you to detach from this foundation. I want you to keep offering your time, energy, and resources to us, because we feel left out in the cold. We don't feel like we maybe went and learned our lesson and went and pursued our wishes and dreams. So we don't want you to do that either. We want you to stay here with us and offer your resources to us and just be in denial about it and just stay in your emotional confusion, that we want you to stay defensive of offering your love to go live the life you want to live. And they will stay apathetic, greedy, non-committal, stone heart, and materialistic. If that's the people that they grew up in a family with and the people they orient themselves with, if those people, and they're letting those people control them, then they'll just detach from their emotional nature out of some divided loyalty to these people. Could be for some of you. I did a random flip of the quote calendar, and you got, our greatest weakness comes from work not done. August 13th. Oh, our greatest weariness. Yeah, that kind of reminds me. I heard somebody say that, if you keep having all these things that you procrastinate about, it just is like carrying a backpack that people, every time you walk by the things you procrastinate about, it's like people putting a rock in your backpack. Sometimes people, this person could even feel betrayed in some type of family dynamic relationship that maybe offers them money and says, oh, if I offer you money, that'll heal things, then you won't feel left out in the cold. This is just and fair for you to take action towards me, like sexually or something, to be in a relationship with me. And if it appeals to this person's nature of looking like a shining star in the world, they will make this person a offer their emotions to this person. And again, that could have been the kind of family that they grew up in. Well, I'll offer you money for you to try to heal things with me so that things can be balanced out. And kind of like, if this person doesn't offer their emotions to kind of those defensive, controlling people, maybe as a child, they were really ended up being really defensive when they tried to offer these people pure, innocent love. The other people kind of had conflict with that and were defensive to it and left these people out in the cold and left them feeling emotionally confused. And because they are unwilling to see the truth of that, they kind of repeat this pattern over and over in their relationships. And if they get in relationships with people who want to put in work and effort to heal and come from a foundation of love, this person can be like, this isn't love. This isn't my definition of love. I have to work either really hard to get you to love me, or this must not be love. It's kind of like people who have been in abusive relationships, and if somebody isn't throwing a bottle at them and hitting them and, insulting them, they don't even know how to function in a loving relationship. It's like, I am out of my element here. I only know how to function in this. And the truth is, until they learn the lesson, they're going to repeat patterns of relationship like that until they finally rise up and say, I am done. This causes me so much mental conflict that I'm going to defend myself against people who call this love. And I'm going to offer myself the love I need. And I'm going to detach from your love. And I'm going to have a brand new beginning and see all the damn emotional possibilities out of me. And there could be some people doing that. So, if you're concerned about someone who's not in your life, let's hope, all of these are the options, the possibilities that people are weighing out in the world. People who move forward in love, it's so easy and straightforward. They learn their lessons. They take the time to meditate on the truth, to reflect. They stand in their truth. They speak the truth. They offer love. They protect their future, and they have hope and faith and belief. And the people who don't choose love, yeah, that's a gamut of all these choices. But we could have some people that are learning their lessons and they're seeing through the illusion and they're learning to have better boundaries. Let's hope so. Let's hope more people decide to stand up for themselves and realize life's an adventure to be lived and quit being so stone cold and apathetic about living their own life. And there's other people that are going to get in a relationship and they're going to defend that relationship because someone offered them money for love and they haven't seen through the emotional confusion of that from their childhood. And other people, because they've just decided life is about materialism, they're going to get in a relationship right now because somebody offered them a new financial beginning and they're just going to create illusion about the whole thing and they're going to defend that relationship. And then we have people who are coming into realization. And just as many people out in the world in shadowy energy as there probably are people in the world, because the divine always keeps everything balanced. So there's just as many people out in the world in the same boat as you are if you're single. Don't give up on hope and faith and belief in your dreams. And maybe even right now there's someone who's maybe been watching you, waiting for you to finally close out this old chapter in your life so that they can make an offer towards you to try to see if you guys can be in a balanced, just relationship so that you can move forward and defend this new relationship. When one door closes, another door opens, but it does take time and it can be a painful process. But the divine always wants us to see the truth, to know that we deserve to be in loving relationships, to not be in illusions about people who aren't currently putting in the work and effort this very day to be in a relationship with us. We can't stay in illusion about those people. We need to keep moving forward. So there you go, Pisces, energies of the world. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.